And I think Arians recognized. And I got to give Arians credit for not making it awkward, not making it ugly, not making it contentious. This is a win. I'm still with the team. I get to create this impression of succession. If somebody texted me during the show, he had so much power he can pick his successor? Really?
Right.
After 3 years as the head coach, they've
Right.
abdicated their power to determine who the head coach is to Bruce Arians? He has that much. If he has that much power, why is he leaving? I mean, really? So I think they came up with a narrative that he would buy into and that would be the right way for him to walk off into the sunset. And if they win the Super Bowl this year, he gets a second ring. And he gets to say he was partially responsible for it.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I do think that this whole idea of succession is weird. You know, it's not an HBO show. This is an NFL franchise. And so, like, the entire premise of, like, succession is extremely important to me. It's not something that we usually hear with head coaches in the NFL. And usually ownership is the one that gets to determine, like, hey, this is how we want our franchise to be. This is how we want our franchise to look like. And if the Glazers are really, really good with the way that Bruce Arians has crafted a culture and instilled winning, and obviously they probably should, given the fact that they won a Super Bowl with Tom Brady and made it to the divisional round and has staged a really good comeback in that divisional round against the Los Angeles Rams this year. Like, I mean, I get that, but at the same time, it's like I said, it's all a little weird to me.
Yeah. Let's hear from Arians on how succession was important to him, and then we'll have some thoughts about how this succession plan, number one, came together. Number two, more importantly, why the NFL allowed it to happen. Here's Arians.
A number of people have already asked, why are you stepping away from a chance to go to the Hall of Fame and win another Super Bowl? Because I don't give a shit about the Hall of Fame. Succession is way more important to me. This has been my dream for a long time. Guys that know me, they knew I wanted one of my guys to take over. And that's more important to me than anything, and have a place where I could go and be welcomed back.
When you were able to assemble the coaching staff upon your original hiring, was that a discussion that you and Todd had? Was that something that you had understood between the two of you, that at some point you had hoped to give it specifically to him?
No, because I really thought he was going to be a head coach after the Super Bowl and then this past year. So it's long overdue. Just that, you know, watching the hiring process us last year and Byron going through what he did and Todd, very, very fortunate for me that we could do it today. And but yeah, we do have an unbelievable coaching staff. We've got at least 4 or 5 guys and maybe 6 or 7 young guys that I think will be head coaches in this league one day.
Okay. Now, this is a guy who traditionally has no filter whatsoever, does not hold any thought within his brain. Why did he not say at any point over the past few years, when he was lobbying publicly for Todd Bowles and Byron Leftwich to get head coaching jobs elsewhere, why did he never even utter the thought, one of them should probably stick around because I want to hand the torch to them? Why was that never mentioned? And I'm curious about that. If succession is more important to you than getting to the Hall of Fame, and I don't know that a second Super Bowl win would have gotten Bruce Arians to the Hall of Fame. He's got 80 career victories, maybe because he's likable and curses a lot. One slipped through the goalie there. You know, he was dropping S-bombs left and right today as Miles texted me, kids got to learn sometimes. So I don't get the idea that all of a sudden, out of the blue, succession becomes the end-all, be-all for Bruce Arians' career when he never previously said, hey, one of these guys should probably hang around because when I'm done, I want to try to hand the reins to them. I don't think he's ever said that. Maybe I'm wrong.
Oh.
Wouldn't be the first time today. Wouldn't be the first time this show that I was wrong.
Yeah,
but you would think,
including about who was co-hosting.
You would think, Miles, not Shireen, but Miles, you would think that we would have that, like, immediately. We would know that's a priority. Like, with Sean Payton, we know, he wants to coach the Cowboys someday. We know that. That's baked into our understanding of who Sean Payton is. It would be baked into our understanding of who Bruce Arians is if we knew instantly, yeah, you know what? The most important thing to him is walking away and giving the keys to the team to one of his guys.
Gosh,
that was not widely known, if known at all, as one of his objectives.
Oh, we keep talking
much
about
less his top objective.
Right. And I mean, I don't necessarily believe anybody if they say they don't care about the Hall of Fame. I think everybody would love to have some sort of football immortality. And it sounds really good, when Bruce Arians says that. But I mean, I think everybody cares about the Hall of Fame on some level, whoever is involved in the sport. And that's fine. I mean, they get to. And it's nice that they're going to induct him into their Ring of Honor with the Buccaneers after just 3 years as a head coach. But he also won a Super Bowl there, right? So that's also good. But I mean, we keep saying the word succession, man. I'm like hearing piano chords in my head. And honestly, I wish that, Arians had just gone full Brian Cox and started telling people to F off in the press conference. That would have been funny.
Oh, if I'd have been in the room, I'm sure I would have heard that at some point.
You, yeah.
Like you did earlier this week.
Good. Yeah, well, you deserved it.
You used the GIF. Well, it was a low blow. Making any reference to the relocation of the Browns, which transmogrified into the Ravens, that is, I know, an area where I'm going to get a profane response. Okay, the other angle of succession that still is confusing and confounding to both of us.
Yes.
This previously unknown Rooney Rule exception that allows a team to move on from a coach or the coach to move on after March 1 with the Rooney Rule to not be complied with at all, and a permanent hire to be made, not an interim hire through the end of the season, and then you do your search after the season, which is what I would have assumed the rule was if the Rooney Rule doesn't apply. But the Rooney Rule doesn't apply, and the Buccaneers violated the Rooney Rule here because you're required to have 2 interviews of minority coaches who aren't currently working for the team. And it's not just we want to promote hiring in this vacancy. We want minority candidates to get opportunities to interview. We want news stories on the AP wire. So-and-so got an interview to be the head coach of the Buccaneers. That's part of why they do it. But now we know that Jerry Jones could roll out of bed tomorrow morning and say, I've had enough of Mike McCarthy. Dan Quinn's my head coach. Succession. Yeah. Succession. Dan Quinn's the new head coach. Or Sean Payton's the new head coach. And I don't have to worry about the Rooney Rule. And you know what? It would be a PR nightmare. But so is the Deshaun Watson contract that only pays him $1 million in base salary this year and lets him circumvent the spirit of getting suspended and giving up significant money when you're suspended. It was a PR blowback, but the rules allow it. There'd be a PR blowback for the Cowboys, but the rules allow it. He could do it right now if he wanted to. He could call Mike McCarthy during this show and say, Mike, you know what? You're out. Sean Payton's in. And that's it. That should not exist.
Yeah. No, I 100% agree with you, Mike. It's a process versus result thing, right? I mean, I can like the result of Todd Bowles being the new head coach of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I do. I think he definitely should have a second shot at being a head coach in this league. And kind of like Arians said, I mean, look, if you look around the league and look at what Bowles did with that defense in the last few years, yeah, he should have earned one of these head coaching vacancies that's been open. But I think when you look at the way this came about, it's like if Dennis Allen had become the Saints head coach in March, right? And Sean Payton decides, you know what, I'm done with this in mid-March. And then Dennis Allen becomes the head coach there for New Orleans without any sort of compliance with the Rooney Rule. What would we be saying today? So it's not, it would be more about, wow, the NFL has so much systemic racism and they didn't even, consider how the Rooney Rule could be subverted with this kind of thing. And people would be right to say that. And so again, I think that we can like the fact that Todd Bowles has earned another opportunity to be a head coach in this league, and he's set up extremely well. And like I said, I don't have anything against Todd Bowles being the head coach. I really don't. But it's the process of how you get there that I think is a little bit problematic when you're just able to subvert the Rooney Rule and kind of do whatever the hell it is that you want. There are rules to this, and there are reasons why there are rules to this. So if I'm the Saints, I'm kind of looking at this and I'm like, wait a minute. We basically went through our own succession process, but we interviewed external candidates. We interviewed people that were of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers organization. Right? And they interviewed Aaron Glenn who was of the Saints organization, but is now with the Detroit Lions as their defensive coordinator, because they knew that they wanted to keep that culture, but they still had a clear, open and open search for that head coaching role. So I just think that this is not usually the way that these things are supposed to go. I don't like this loophole that exists now here that we know about in the Rooney Rule.
When I saw the tweet last night from Tom Pelissero of NFL Media with a screenshot of the language of the tampering policy that slams the door on interviews of assistant coaches on other teams, it doesn't slam it completely. What it does is, after March 1, it allows other teams to say, sorry, no, you can't interview our offensive coordinator, our defensive coordinator, any of our assistants. It's voluntary at that point. Where who's going to volunteer? The rosters, at least the coaching staffs, are locked. The rosters obviously aren't locked, but the coaching staffs are locked after March 1. But when I saw that, I realized there's something about this that isn't right. And I asked the league, surely this can't be right. And they explained to me what they have explained to many others, that after March 1, because teams can now say, sorry, you can't interview our assistant coaches, the Rooney Rule doesn't apply. And my response was, okay, you know what this means then. Jerry Jones can fire Mike McCarthy after March 1 and hire Sean Payton. Can he do that? And I expected the response to be, we don't comment on hypotheticals. They didn't even respond. They ghosted me. What a shock. What a shock. That's what they do when they don't want to answer my question. Isn't that infantile? You ask a question that they want you to ask on a topic where they want the response to get out there, and they can't respond soon enough. You ask them a question on something that they don't want to answer, and they ignore you. I mean, that really is, and I do plenty of childish, petty things, but that really is childish and short-sighted, to not even give someone the courtesy of a response, to not even say, we don't comment on hypotheticals, or, well, we wouldn't allow that to happen, or something, because it is the obvious implication of what was done here. And it bolsters the notion that I have discovered and believed for years now. The NFL does what it wants, when it wants, how it wants, period. And in this case, it's very Machiavellian. We have another black coach. So however we get there, it doesn't matter. Even if it means along the way the Rooney Rule was ignored. Even if it means that 2 minority candidates did not get, from external sources, an opportunity to interview for the job. Doesn't matter. We're able to say, at a time where we're being sued by Brian Flores, we flipped another job from coaches white to coaches black. So we're fine with that. And we're fine with every implication that flows from it until Jerry Jones fires Mike McCarthy and hires Sean Payton. Then it'll be an issue that they have to fix. That's how it'll go. If and when anybody ever does it and the new coach is white, the NFL is going to say, well, we can't have that. And they'll either stop it from happening or they'll change the rule then.
Yes. I mean, that's, to me, is pretty obvious about the whole thing. But also, I mean, what team would really say, I mean, I guess unless it's a divisional rival, what team is really going to prevent somebody from interviewing for a head coaching job at any point? Because all you're going to do at that point is kind of create some resentment, right? That's at least the way I would think of it.
Well, I don't disagree with that. I mean, the whole thing is strange, and the reason it's strange is they have a strange rule that's in place here. And what should have happened is, after March 1, if you can't do a full search, the replacement should be interim for this year, and then after this year, there will be a search. And maybe Todd Bowles has the inside track at that point, not a 5-year contract. That is what just doesn't add up to me, and it doesn't seem like good business for the NFL.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.